Hello and welcome to CLEA'S World. I am Clea and today I would like to share with you more of the information I've received from the 25th dimension during my last BQH hypnosis session. I will be reading from a transcript of the session, and when I refer to Lorrayne, I'm speaking of my practitioner who's asking me questions I prepared in advance of the session unless she states otherwise. And when I refer to me, I'm talking to myself under hypnosis, which means that the answers are coming from 25th. And as always, thank you so much for subscribing, liking, and commenting on this video. I love reading all your comments. You know that I respond to all of them. And I love the community we've created here in the space. So I look forward to reading your comments. All right, I'm going to start reading here. Lorrayne. This is a question from Josie Adams. She would like to know what the country theme is for Canada. Me. The theme for Canada. In many ways, the theme for Canada is a little bit of a mix. In many ways, it's very similar to that of the United States, but they also have had a lot of influences from Europe. So it's almost like it's in the middle of these two continents. Because of their positioning, they've been very much following in the steps of the United States in terms of the colonization, what they have done with the original people that were here. So in that sense, they've gone through the same concepts. And not only, if you notice, in Canada, they also think they're free, much freer, for example, than Europe. At least they used to think they were free until, of course, there was like this cold shower of the last 2.5 years now. But there are many people right now that will tell you how free they are in Canada, even the people that, were forced to choose between their health and their job, for example. They'll tell you we live in a free country. So in that sense, they do follow in lockstep with the United States. But the difference is that because they have also embraced some of the same themes that they've had in Europe, they're also more subject to, they're not as free on paper as the United States. In the United States, what's happened was that, and this was actually a setup, not only by all the essences, as always, it's always all the essences that have to bring on something, but really was also a setup by the dark where they wanted the one country to have the special status where they could act from. And of course, they were then planning to take it down, which is what they've been trying to do for the last 2.5 years. They've been trying to take it down and turn it into China, really, with the mandates and all of that. But because of what they set up, because again, the dark does not understand, and none of us understand in advance what something is going to turn into, but the dark does not understand. They can't just set things up a certain way and then switch it on a dime. Because when they set something up, the only reason it's happening is because all of us, all the essences, not just on the side of the dark, are agreeing to it. And they know this. They know that we have to agree to it. That's why they show us a lot of stuff in advance. So we'll agree to it. But then they don't understand that we're not just going to change our mind, or they think they can just push through at that point. Well, you agree to this, so we'll just push through with the next thing. It doesn't work that way. We would have to agree to the next thing too. So in the United States, we didn't. In Canada, most people did agree, because from the very beginning, they were put, just the fact it seems like a silly thing that shouldn't matter, just the fact that they were under the control, at least on paper, of the monarchy, of the royals in the UK. Do you see what we mean by they're connected? They're more connected to Europe than the United States. The United States made the choice early on, at least on paper, because again, we're not any freer than a lot of other places, but on paper, we made the choice to separate ourselves, which is very symbolic from the monarchy in Europe. We're like, no, we're going to set up our own thing here. In Canada, they didn't make this choice. And this is significant because, again, it means that they also behave in some ways like Europe. Europe is very much captive, and we've seen it. We've seen it with the things that have happened, again, over the last couple of years. We've really seen where a lot of countries are at or were at, because now the light is really changing things everywhere. And so the theme for Canada has kind of been on the cusp of these two, like in the middle, right in the line between these two different systems, where a lot of people, for example, from Europe will move to Canada thinking Canada is a free place compared to Europe. Claire knows a lot of French people, for example, who moved to Canada for that reason. But then in Canada, what have we seen? It's behaved like Europe, really, mostly. So there are these two things going on. It's like they haven't been able to cut off Europe completely. And when we say Europe, we mean the idea of Europe, which is very much under the thumb of the dark. Now, Everywhere has been under the thumb of the dark, but there are certain areas where the dark has been focused on for so long that really even more the institutions are even more captive than in other countries. And not that you have a more captive institution than the CDC or the FDA, for example, and they were laughing here, but at least on the surface here, they have to toe the line. They have to at least appear as if they care. In other countries, not so much. They really are kind of unchained from the people. It really is a different way of thinking about things. Here, you think a lot of people still believe, incredibly, they were laughing here. We always say the essence can believe whatever it wants. Incredibly, a lot of people here still believe the institutions work for them. In Europe, it's very clear to most people these institutions work for themselves, and you're just going to do what they tell you to. It's very much an authoritarian system. And in Canada, they're right in that line because they also very much, a lot of people believe that institutions are there to protect you. They're so proud of their socialized medicine. That just tells you to have a socialized medicine system tells you that the people believe that the government is taking care of them. Right there, that tells you. And it just shows it's a manifestation of the beliefs of the people, right? What the people want to experience, and they think it's great. They're so proud of it. Except there are countries where you look in 3D reality, like Italy. Italy technically has a socialized system. And if you ask people, they're like, oh, it's so great. We don't have to pay for stuff. Guess what? It's not good. It's not good. Nothing that is managed by the government or by paid bureaucrats is going to be good. But of course, doesn't mean that necessarily the United States is better because again, it's really dark. We know the medical system is dark, but that's what we mean in terms of themes, that they want to believe in certain things. They want to experience these things, and they kind of have chosen to be in between. They experience some things that are similar to the US, and experience a lot of things that are similar to Europe. Lorrayne, thank you. Claire would like to know about Thailand and Israel. Me. Yeah, so Thailand. The theme for Thailand has always been that, again, Asia is collectivistic and they take pride, they embody, they feel represented by the monarchy. So they have to believe the monarchy is the best part of them, very much like a lot of people in the UK. They feel reflected in this. They feel represented by these families, that they think, oh, great people, look, they have all the luxuries, while they feel bad for themselves because they have nothing. They say, but look, this is the best of us. Look what we're capable of. And they say that because they've been taught that, they can be proud of that. And the more they feel not proud of how they live because they got nothing, thanks to this family, and they were laughing, very much thanks to these royal families, they have nothing, but they don't want to say that because also they've been told that, the royal family represents the country. And therefore, no matter how awful you feel about your life, it's okay because the royal family is living in this luxury. So they look powerful, and therefore your country is powerful. And therefore, by reflection, you're powerful. So the theme for Thailand is very much the idea they would just do what they've been taught, what they want to believe, they want to experience is that they very much are part of a collective that embodies itself and is proud of this family. Now, the problem is that a lot of Thai people know better. They just cannot talk about it. So transformation is happening there as well. In fact, you might not know this. Many people might not know this. There was, just like in Queen Elizabeth's case, there was a beloved royal who was just as dark as the vast majority of royals. There was a beloved royal there. He was actually the longest reigning monarch in the world. He had been there for 60-something years. And he died actually 2 or 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago. And then the son, who's despised, are you seeing parallels yet with what's happening in the UK? They were laughing here. The son who is despised became king. So things have been stirring. These things don't happen by chance. All of a sudden, they're showing you. We don't even keep up with appearances anymore because now, not even on the surface, this guy looks like he cares. Everybody's very well aware this guy does not deserve to be there. He's very much of the dark. He's very much an awful person. And meanwhile, they have to bear with him. So they might not be able, because they're censored, and you can actually go to jail for speaking ill of the royal family. They might not be able to say that, but it's very clear to everybody. It's nothing to be proud of to have this guy there making laws and deciding things and behaving the way he does. What's going to happen when Charles comes in? Are we all going to pretend, oh, we're so proud of our royal family, so good to be British? Don't you think a lot of people are going to be thinking about it and say, oh, maybe it's not so much that we like the monarchy, is that every once in a while we get lucky and we get somebody we like. So of course, what's going to happen is that lots of people are going to pressure for his son to come in. Because again, we don't want to let go of the idea of being told what to do. We just want to let go of the person. We just don't like this person. It's the same example we talked about when we talked about presidents in this country. Oh, I don't like people with red hair. We want people with white hair. They're pretty much the same. You still have a system where they're taking your freedom away. It's just the way it is. That's how government works. Doesn't matter that you happen to like one, but you don't like the other. And so that's, the luck of the draw. And that's what's happening in Thailand as well. Now, for Israel. Israel has had a very unique history in the sense that, it wasn't a country from the beginning. It's become a country. So, of course, it's absorbed a lot of people from Europe. And so guess what? People in Europe were already under the thumb of very, very dark regimes. And all they've done is they're carried it to Israel. Not only, but they got to Israel through dark actions, taking away territory from other people, which they're holding by force to this day. Which is not to say that now the people that are there should suffer or they should lose anything. But you cannot, and we've discussed this before, you cannot clean up, you cannot improve a situation that is based on a very shaky foundation of darkness. It's like saying we can improve the medical system. You cannot improve the medical system. The medical system is a creature of the dark. Does it matter that some people might be good in it? The system is dark, it must go. You just have to move on and leave it in the past. And that's what's happening with Israel, is that they're very much stood up their lives on something very dark. And so while many people there are of the light and many people are very good, the problem is you're still supporting an idea of the dark. Just like in banking, you can work in a bank and be a great person, but guess what? The system is corrupt. Nothing's going to change that. It doesn't matter how good you are. So this is not to say that Israel has to go. But it would have, if we stayed here, it would have to completely, that entire situation there would have to change. So the theme for Israel is that they really have seen the dark. Basically, again, a country set up by the dark, through strategies of the dark, through darkness. Really, they were escaping darkness, but you can't leave it behind. And so they are living through this theme of having to look at it face to face, just like we're doing in Italy with the Catholic Church. You're looking at it face to face and deciding, okay, does it mean I'm bad? Because, we don't want to say that. And they were laughing. And truly, we said there is no right or wrong. There's no good and bad. But they don't want to say, oh, I'm bad. They might think, again, like the one banker in the system that's not supporting the system, it's against the system. And meanwhile, you get paid by the system. But they might say, but this has to change. And we do expect that if we were to stay here longer, they would come to that conclusion and they would come to that solution to where it would be much more peaceful and it would be much more opening because, again, the dark cannot sustain. It requires a lot of energy for that to sustain. And the policies that they've had were pretty much set up by the dark. And of course, we don't have as many of those anymore. So that's been the theme, unfortunately, with Israel. The people there have very much been sustaining the system. And of course, they feel like a self-defense, right? At that point, it's their home. So we are not judging. We're not judging the people in Israel. Everybody's living through what they have set up to live through. So there is no judgment. Lorrayne, thank you. Okay. What do the people gone with the aliens think about the situation on Earth now? They left thinking that they were being saved from something bad that would happen fairly soon. And now it's been months and nothing is happening. Me. So the people gone with the aliens, they don't think of Earth the way we think of Earth. It's like when another day has gone by, another week has gone by. Some of them might be being kept in suspension just because, we already explained before, some people might have a hard time even with the idea that something's going to happen to Earth. So we already said, we already discussed this before when we talked about people moving on with the aliens. But the people who are aware, they're just being told that the operations are continuing and that we are monitoring. Something is going to happen. It just hasn't happened yet. So they're kind of, expecting things to happen at some point. They're not necessarily watching it like you're watching the news every minute of the day. Because keep in mind, they're also living their life in a completely new place. So they're dealing with that. So they might in some ways lose track of time, just like we lose track of time here, where we think, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's already fall. Where did the summer go? And so even the ones who are fully aware of what's going on, and by fully aware, we just mean that they've been told that something was going to happen, that is going to happen, that maybe there's been a little bit of a delay, but it's still going to happen. It might still happen. Even they, it's not like they're just focusing on this, so they might not realize how much time has passed. And we mean it in a very 3D way. It's like when you don't realize how quickly time is going. So they might be, okay, but when is it going to happen? Why do we leave so early? But truly, we're talking about a few months. They just left. Many of them just left, like in May or June. Lorrayne, thank you. Do they know that their old selves are here? The ones that left their bodies, are they aware of that? And what do they think of the fact that there are still so many people here? And this was actually a question from Lorrayne. She wanted to know what the people gone with the aliens think about the fact that their old bodies are here, and that some people have gone to 3D chambers, that kind of thing. So she wanted to know what they think of the situation. Basically, what do they know? Me. Yeah, so no, they're not aware of their own bodies being here. They don't know that. They think the bodies they have are real, what they consider real. And it's not like they can see who's here or say, oh, let me go see my old house. The aliens wouldn't do that, and they wouldn't even ask for that. Even emotionally, they might not want to see that. So what do they think of the fact that there are so many people here? Yeah, they just think the operations are moving on, but they slow down. There's a little bit of a delay, and that's why there's still so many people here. However, they also see there are less people in the world than before, because they're like, oh, we're here, so there's less people. And they can see that. They can see that there's less people here because there are less people here. And as a reminder, we've lost about 500 million bodies on this planet, which is, the 25th told us about this because these are some of the people that have gone with the aliens, but also you can see it at a 3D level. There are people, there are businesses looking for people everywhere. They cannot find workers across the globe and across every industry. And there are people just very, very 3D people just asking even online, saying, where have all the people gone? So this is something you can confirm in your own reality around you. Lorrayne, what are they thinking about those that went to 3D? Because now those that went to 3D, their bodies are still here, but they haven't gone with the aliens. If they were family members, how are they feeling that separation? Me. They don't know. They don't know that there are some people that went to 3D chambers. They think that everybody who is gone has gone with the aliens. They don't know that there is another, that some people, because also keep in mind that they don't, the people that went to 3D planets did not take their bodies. So if they looked here, which again, they're not going in and saying, oh, how's my son? They're just assuming, just like they're assuming with us that are still here with the essences, they're assuming we're going to go somewhere else. We're going to go to other ships, okay? They don't necessarily know that there's going to be a new Earth set up, because otherwise it would be like, okay, when do we go, right? They would think they're also meant to go. So they're just going to assume everybody's going with the aliens. They might just be on other ships. That's why we're not seeing them. So they don't know everything that we know, that you and I know about what's actually happened. They just went with the aliens. Lorrayne, that makes sense. Thank you. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm going to stop here, but I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care and bye-bye.